This is MRN Crew Call, brought to you by Hercules Tires.
The NASCAR Garage, the All-Star Race, a pit crew challenge. I love it. I love what we have going on this weekend at Texas Motor Speedway with the All-Star Race. Motor Racing Network is going to be there all weekend long, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds. So we're going to talk a little Texas, but also here on Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires, we're going to get a little behind the scenes and talk to one of the top crew chiefs in the sport. I'm Steve Post, pit road reporter for Motor Racing Network. This is Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires, and Adam Stevens is our guest. Adam is a 42-year-old from Portsmouth, Ohio. Had a dirt late model background. In fact, he even ran one of the biggest dirt late model races back in 1999 up at Eldora Speedway. His dad was a racer, and he followed that very traditional, as we've learned here on Crew Call, path that so many did. Race car driver, race car driver, race car driver. Well, wait a minute. This may or may not work. I better have another plan. He went to Ohio University, got a mechanical engineering degree, started knocking on doors in North Carolina, and here he is, a two-time championship winning crew chief and one of the really good guys in the garage. So that's what we're doing here today on Crew Call. We're going to chat with Adam Stevens.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTires.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTires.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Crew Call rolling along here. We're so glad you joined us on the Motor Racing Network. Joining us now via Zoom, Adam Stevens from over at Joe Gibbs Racing. Hello, Adam. Welcome into Crew Call.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Man, great to catch up with you, Adam. Want to cover a little bit of ground and some various topics with you here. Joe Gibbs Racing. Let's talk a little big picture about the 2021 season so far. Martin Truex Jr. and James Small over there, 3 wins, knocking it out pretty good. Looks like Kyle and Ben are getting up to speed. Denny and Chris have done everything but win. You guys got your first win early in the year. Joe Gibbs Racing as a whole, how are things going here as we hit the second half of the regular season?
Man, I don't know. You bring up the stats and you look at the stat line and it looks pretty good. But I think we have our strengths and we have our weaknesses right now. And I think our weaknesses kind of like a thorn in your side, a burr in your saddle. You know, our intermediate stuff is just not quite where it needs to be, but our short track and road course program is pretty competitive. So, there's a group of tracks where we know we can go and compete before we unload, and a group of tracks where we know we have some work to do.
What's that like going into a weekend knowing that you have some work to do? And especially with no practice, no testing and everything like that, the motivation and the drive, what's that like on those weekends?
Well, it's tough because we know that we have to have it just about perfect to be able to compete on certain weekends, where other weekends we know if we get it close, we can stay in the mix all day and maybe have a shot. So, it's the cycle of the sport. Sometimes you're the leader in every category and sometimes, you're not. So you just have to keep your head down and keep working. But it's tough in these times too, because you're limited on your wind tunnel hours. Most of, if not all, the parts are frozen. So you're kind of working with a group of parts that you have. And it's tough to make gains and close that gap.
Let's talk a little bit about that cyclical nature of the sport, because Joe Gibbs Racing at time has been that team. Okay, that team where you're leading every department, every category. Let's just be honest. Hendrick Motorsports right now, particularly on those intermediate tracks, they seem to have the upper hand. How does that happen, Adam? And how do you now respond to that as an organization?
It happens through hard work. It happens through rules changes, tire changes, and not just the changing of the physical rules, but the enforcement of the rules. There were a lot of things that came through this year that affected some teams more than others, just in the way that they're enforcing some of the rules. And all of those things have some kind of impact on the performance of the cars. And certainly lack of testing and lack of practice, when you are behind, it makes it harder to close that gap.
One of the things teams often do is we hear this phrase, focus on our own team, everything will take care of itself. But when you have another team that is right now got a little bit of a step on everybody, do you look at what they're doing? How do you do that yet remain focused on your own program? How do you balance that?
Well, I think it's important to pinpoint where you're getting beat. As far as what they're doing and how they're doing it, there's just not enough information you could gather to make any logical decisions. If they were to offer it, I would certainly entertain it. But you're not even in the garage with them anymore on most of these weekends. You're just shoving them through tech and lining up to race. So, whatever you could casually observe, that list was small before. It is almost non-existent now. So, but we do have a lot of data on how the drivers drive their cars and how those cars perform and where their strengths are and where their weaknesses are and how those line up to ours, specifically on the intermediates and tracks where we're not consistently leading laps and winning races. So there's a lot of information to comb through and a lot of data to look at that you can kind of help steer the ship with.
One of the things that I historically have loved about the NASCAR garage is how close you work next to the other teams. And you're right. We're not in that boat now. Hopefully we get back to some semblance of that order where a Gibbs car is parked right next to a Hendrick car is parked next to a Penske and a Stewart-Haas car. Back in the day, how much snooping could you do into the other guys, and how much snooping, and do you catch guys snooping on your cars? What's the dynamic of that?
Oh, I mean, there was a time where that could get pretty crazy. You would see photographers going around and trying to be sneaky and taking pictures of people's stuff. The one thing that you would always just notice just by being there is what they were physically working on. They come in to make a change. Are they working under the hood? Or are they working under the back of the car? Are they working on the left side? Or are they working on the right side? Or when they carry springs out from the truck or the toolbox, are they itty bitty ones or are they big old thick ones? You just casually being there, you notice all the types of those things. And sometimes you can put those pieces of the puzzle together, but generally you're so focused on your own stuff that, you're not writing anything down or making a list. You're just casually noticing things.
Yeah, I love the garage. Love that sort of thing. This year you're paired up with Christopher Bell. What types of things have you learned about Christopher, and just how good of a race car driver is he?
Oh, he's an exceptional talent. He's still pretty green. A lot of areas need work. There's a lot of things that go into making a successful weekend and building a successful race team that take a lot of effort. And he's working on all those things and working hard and making gains as well. So, just the attitude and the focus and the determination are things that stand out that he does really well.
You guys both have a dirt track background, short track background. Your dad, Greg, raced and you raced. In fact, I was reading a stat that 1999 Dream Race at Eldora, you finished 17th. And we obviously know Christopher's background in that. And I mean, granted, it's different. He's sprint cars and midgets and you're dirt full-bodied late models. But does that racer mentality help you as you have built that relationship with him?
Oh, I think it does. Just having a clue of what it means to drive a racing vehicle at the limit as fast as it'll go, and to do that over a period of years and cart your stuff up and down the highway, on your own or with your family and a couple guys helping you, 40 or 45 nights a year on top of doing whatever else you were doing. That's the type of things that people can relate to. And just that racer mentality and understanding the grind of it and the effort and the passion that's in it and behind it, I think are key.
I want to talk a little bit bigger picture about the grind, the challenges of this. I heard an interview with you, Adam, watched an interview a couple of years ago, and the interviewer, she had asked you, if you could go back and tell young Adam, your story is, you went to college, you beat on every door in North Carolina, you pursued your dream, you got your dream, you worked your way up the ladder to championship level crew chief. The question that she asked you is, if you could go back and tell young Adam anything, what would it be? And you were kind of like, you really didn't have an answer because at that point you said you were pursuing your dream. In our line of work, in this line, how important is it as you talk to young guys coming into the sport to have that dream-like passion for the sport that you seem to have and that has to motivate you? How important is that?
I mean, to me, it's very important. One of the things that I am big on when I'm interviewing somebody is figuring out their racing background. You know, if I haven't found too many people, there have been a few, but that didn't do racing at some level growing up and heavily involved in it, you know, whether they were into go-karts or sprint cars or helping somebody on a team, that really truly had a passion for it later in life. You know, there have been a few that have come up that didn't really know anything about racing whatsoever and got into it later in life and have made a high level career out of it. But I really look for those people that have been involved in racing from a very, very young age. And those are the type of people that really understand the effort and the dedication that it's going to take to compete at a high level.
To me, racing is a career, yes. It's a passion, yes. But to me, it's almost like it's a lifestyle. Is that accurate?
I think so. I think so. It's probably like any professional sport. You know, this is the only professional sport I've been blessed to be involved in. But it takes a complete commitment. You know, it's not a 9-to-5 job. There are days and weeks and months where you are there every single day. You know, I rarely have a day off. Probably a little bit more now with these expanded schedules, you know, where the trucks leave at Saturday morning sometimes and we fly out Sunday morning and come home Sunday night. But certainly when we were testing 10 or 12 times a year and gone for 160 nights or whatever it was, you know, with full race weekends, it's a complete dedication to what you're doing, and you can't let up, you know, because the guys you're competing against aren't going to let up, at least the ones that are winning, and that's what we all strive to do. So it takes a extreme dedication and work ethic, and it's not something that you can really teach. It's something that you kind of have to bring with you.
What drives people ask, you know, when I talk to folks, I say I think the most difficult, challenging job in NASCAR racing is the crew chief job, because it's all on your plate. It's all on your table. You're the head coach. You're the guy that, you know, you're that guy. What drives you? What is it? The next race? It's the big project. What keeps you motivated? Because I can imagine this has got to be a grind at times, but yet you never seem to fall into the grind.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's just the will to win. You know, every day that you come to work, you're trying to get better and you're trying to find a way to win that next race. And if you're not winning, you're trying to find that improvement to, you know, get to your next goal. And it's just a absolute passion for winning. You know, coach gives us all the tools and helps us get all the people that we need to make that happen. And it's up to us to kind of wade through all the data and with all the help of all of our people and make good decisions and put ourselves in the best spot possible to win these races. But it's just the love of winning is the only thing that drives me. I don't know what drives the rest of them.
Well, that's you got to have that. That's for sure. Off the racetrack, you're a father of 2 boys. I always traditionally ask the question, are they into racing? But I've heard a number of interviews. Apparently they're more stick and ball guys. And,
yeah, they are. Yeah, they love tackle football and baseball, and those are the 2 big sports, and they'll fill in between those seasons with about anything. But haven't got into racing yet. They've asked me lots of questions about it and are inquisitive and pay attention to the racing that we do. But as far as getting them involved, I would need a clone or something to facilitate that, because there's just no time to do this job and all their other stuff and try to weasel some go-karts in there. That would be pretty tough.
Yeah. It's not something you want to. You can't part-time it with racing. That's for sure.
Exactly.
No matter
exactly
what level.
Right.
When the boys are playing sports, what kind of dad are you? Are you the screaming at the official dad, or are you laid back? Are you somewhere? What kind of dad are you as they play their sports?
Oh, I would never yell at an official. Absolutely not. No. But you know, I make it to a lot of the practices and every game that I possibly can. I'll work my weekly schedule around that. Obviously, if we're out of town, we're out of town. But I just love to go and watch them compete, and their competitiveness they surely got from me, because when they are playing, they are into it. And they're getting better at the practicing and finding that self-motivation to get better in their downtime. So that's been fun to see too. and to help them get better. It's been a lot of fun. You know, we spent a lot of time practicing baseball in the backyard and running routes and throwing footballs and helping Carter with his workouts, and they just want to get better, and that's fun to see.
That's got to be neat. That's got to be a great release for you from the Joe Gibbs Racing to be able to do that in physical activity and family time. That's got to be a neat thing for you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's extremely fun when they have a passion for it. You know, yeah. If when they're asking you, hey, can we go do this? Can we go do that? That's a lot of fun. You know, just to see them excited about doing something that they enjoy and they're passionate about, kind of puts a pep in your step too.
We've spent a lot of time on Crew Call talking about the challenges of the one-day shows and the flying in on race day and flying back out. And while that's certainly a challenge on the competitive level, when it comes to the family side of things, having some Friday nights and Saturdays at home, there's probably an upside to that as well, though.
Oh, there's a huge upside, especially for a guy like me that's got a couple kids and lots of stuff going on. You know, it's not only that we're maybe gone on a Sunday and morning early and then back on a Sunday night. So you didn't spend the night away from home, or a lot of times you just spend one night away. But because the trucks are leaving so much later, because, you know, they're not parking until a Saturday night or a Sunday morning, you don't have to work as late during the week. You know, a lot of times the trucks were leaving on a Wednesday or certainly a Thursday by lunch type deal. With the old schedules, and you have another day and a half, 2 days at least in the shop every single week. And, you know, we find things to do to get more involved. But generally you're not having to work super late during the weeks like you maybe had to previously.
Neat stuff for sure. Finally, for you here, we're rolling into Texas for the All-Star race this weekend. I'm still trying to figure out the format, 15 laps and inverts and 15 laps and inverts. And here, most recent time we were at Texas, you were the winning crew chief with Kyle Busch. You talked a little bit earlier about the intermediate program and working on that. To me, this seems and sounds like a pretty good opportunity for you guys to get your arms around it. There's $1 million, of course, at the end of it, but and this is a playoff race also. How do you approach the All-Star race at Texas?
Well, we did have a good run there last year. You know, I did think that we learned a couple things that we can probably bring back with us. And the big thing is that the format, the runs are going to be really short. So what it takes to go fast for a handful of laps and what it takes to go fast for a fuel run are two different things, you know. And they've messed around with the tapered spacers and horsepower. So it's a big horsepower reduction. So we thought we were in the gas a lot last time. We're really going to be in the gas now with less horsepower, but that'll change the setups a lot too. And then certainly the energy of an all-star race, you know, everybody is amped up and trying to get to the front in very, very short order. And that creates a lot of fender banging and carnage, and fender banging on a very fast 1.5 mile track is really not what you want. So we got to try to keep from banging those fenders, keep the car straight and have something to race with later in that race when it all breaks loose.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the other aspects of the All-Star race this year is during the running of stage 5 or round 5 of the race, the 30-lap run, there needs to be a pit stop, a 4-tire pit stop. And there's $100,000 on the line for the crew guys. Adam, I go back. I love when we used to do the pit stop challenge in Uptown Charlotte and all of that. I'm not sure about all this format stuff, but I do love the fact that the pit crews can participate and maybe win some extra money as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Those guys need to have something like this. I think it's super cool and super important, and talk about hard work and dedication and commitment to your craft. I mean, I'm just speaking for my guys, but they are incredible, and good attitudes, and just want to do the best that they possibly can to put this team in position to win. And it's fun to see that competition up and down pit road and everybody pushing each other to get better. And to have it all come down to one stop is going to be pretty interesting, but they're going to get after it. I can tell you that.
I know. I can't wait. I love being a pit road reporter. I love the athletes that I get to watch do those stops. I just mind boggles. And I loved when we used to do Charlotte, we used to do the qualifying with the live, the fast pit stop, because it was like a chance as a pit road reporter to call pit stop after pit stop after pit stop. And it was the focus. And I can't wait for those pit stops. It's going to be neat. That's for sure. The whole night's going to be neat. The whole weekend's going to be neat. Wish you guys success on it. Adam, we appreciate the time joining us, and wish you the best at the All-Star race and then really on throughout the balance of the season. Thanks for the time, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
There we go. Adam Stevens joining us here on Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires.
Sir, are you aware you were going 40 miles an hour? This is a residential area.
Sure, but I'm on my lawnmower? Wait, am I getting a ticket?
No, I've just never seen anyone top 9 miles an hour on one of those bad boys. And mow their entire lawn in 30 seconds? What got into you?
Well, it did fuel up at Sunoco this morning.
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Crew Call presented by Hercules Tires, and we are looking at the All-Star race. And in chatting with Adam, it is complex. 6 rounds, 15 laps, followed by an 8 to 12 car invert. 15 laps, followed by a full field invert. Round 3, 15 laps, followed by an 8 to 12 car invert. Round number 4 is 15 laps. Okay, so then what they're going to do, okay, rounds 1 through 4, 15 laps with all kinds of inverts and fun stuff involved in it. All right, round number 5 is 30 laps, lined up by cumulative points from stages in rounds 1 through 4. One of the keys during this one, though, is that live pit stop, and the fastest pit crew wins $100,000. That is round number 5, 30 laps. Let's see, it's a 100-lap race. We're up to 90 laps. What we're going to do, we're just going to throw a caution. We're going to reset them in a 10-lap sprint to the finish. $900,000 on the line. And that round 10 or that round 6 will be just lined up straight up after round number 5's finish. Yes, I know it's complex. We'll break it all down on Motor Racing Network, and it is going to be good. It's going to be exciting. The All-Star races always are, and this is the first time it is held at Texas. Texas Motor Speedway, repaved in 2017, so it's not one of those brutal tire grinding racetracks that we have. In fact, it's rather smooth, and so not a lot of tire wear. We're going to see what Goodyear brings as far as the tire goes and how much they fall off and what needs to be done. We always talk about fall off and do you move to the back? Well, you're going to move to the back anyhow with the inverts. And so tire strategy and what they do is going to be interesting as well. Motor Racing Network, as I mentioned, is going to be there all weekend long. Coming up on Saturday, 12:30, it is the SpeedyCash.com 200 for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. And then a 5:30 start time on Sunday night for the NASCAR All-Star Race from Texas Motor Speedway. And you can find all of our programming at MRN.com. That's MRN.com. We appreciate Adam Stevens joining us, but more important than all of that, thank you for joining us here this week on MRN's Crew Call, presented by Hercules Tires.